Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I'm Lucrezia. I work as a software engineer and I'm currently working with the web UI team, and I work as a front-end developer. And I've joined HCL 2 years ago, and I worked on the 10 release, and then I worked on self-service catalog, so Fixpack 1, and then now I'm currently working on Fixpack 3, and I will talk a little bit about the topics that Marco already presented, so self-service catalog and run-cycle preview. And before we start, I'd like to say a few things. First of all, I apologize for my English because I feel a little bit intimidated because you're all native speakers. So sorry if I can say something wrong. And another thing that I'd like to say, I've asked about your question on version 10.2 and if we'll support engines 9.5, and the answer is yes. We have backward compatibility, but of course you will not be able to use the new features such as the self-service catalog and new monitoring as well. So yeah, I think that without further ado, we can start with our topics. I will briefly introduce the new DWC, the new UI, and I will focus on the new Workload Designer. Then I will talk a little bit more about the self-service catalog and why we have redesigned it and what are the purposes, what is the purpose of self-service catalog and which user should use it. And I will go in a brief demo about the self-service catalog, and then I will introduce the approval flow. Unfortunately, I won't have a demo on this because the scenario is a little bit complex and I don't have the environment set. But in the presentation, I will cover the main steps and processes of the approval flow. And then I will briefly go through the run cycle preview with a little demo as well. And then we will have question and answer session, but if you want, you can interrupt me during the presentation if you want to ask something. So starting from the new UI, I think that the biggest thing that we have done was redesign the Workload Designer. I don't know if any of you had any familiarity with the old designer, but I've heard that some of you use web admin. I never heard about it, and I don't know why you're using that because the new UI is better. So use a new UI. I've tried it. I've tried. But anyway, is as I was saying, is new because we worked on a better design in comparison with the old one, and we have improved many of its features. And as you can see here, we have two main areas, the Explore area and the Workspace area, which I will discuss in much more detail later. And here we have at a glance all of the object definitions and all of the actions that we can perform on that. And the main improvements are that we now have a single point of control. We don't have to switch to different tabs. If we change engine, we have everything in the same browser tab. And we can manage and see all the object definitions. And we also have included the fold view, the tree view of the folders, so you have much easier access to them. On ZOS, we don't have folders. We do not support folders. So the only difference with ZOS is that on the Explore area, we won't see the part on the left. And here we have the Workspace area where you can work on your object definition. You can access the Workspace area directly from the Explore area, or whenever you create a new object, you are switch to this Workspace area, and here you have all the definition and all the details of the objects you are creating or editing displayed. And as you can see, the UI and the user interface pattern has been improved, and you can edit multiple objects at a time, and you can also use the integrated graphical interview to see all the flow between all the object definitions. And you can also import your definition.
I have a question around the search.
Yeah.
Is there any history?
Is there any?
Frustrating things is when you're working in B2C and your job streaming, and then you close it.
Yeah.
You then have to search for it. Is there a drop down history in the search?
You don't have a drop down history, but you can actually search the job stream using the search bar.
Yeah, you have to keep doing that rather than.
Yeah, or otherwise you can list the objects. I mean, in Explore area, you can, for example, if you see those boxes there, you choose the job stream, and then you have a list of all the job streams, and you can use sorters on a table. You will see them displayed on a table, and you can sort them. But otherwise, you have to.
If you make a change, you've got recent history change.
You have also the recent history.
You don't change everything, you have to go and find it.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. But it is an input. I mean, we can work on improving that aspect. So now moving to the self-service catalog. As you can see here, self-service catalog, we define it as a mobile-oriented interface to submit on-demand business flow. And you might ask, what does it mean, actually? And you have to imagine that we have a classical user of the DWC and Workload Automation, which is an expert, and creates services, and he submits the services as job streams. So what the services are actually job streams that have a special flag that identifies them as services. And in those services, we can define different variables. And the final user of this service catalog is someone that is not an expert of the workload automation. So it doesn't know all the processes. It doesn't know how to define a job stream or complex scenario. It's just an end user that wants to automate a simple process that can help its everyday life. And so to do so, I wanted to show you a practical example. So we have Rico, which is a people manager, and he has to approach a new hire, and she has to perform a lot of actions to, for example, request the laptop assignment, activate the badge and creates the hire's ID, add the payroll information to the system, and so on. So she has a lot of tasks to do, and she has to interact with many different people and many different departments and teams. And so she started working on that, and obviously all these actions requires a lot of time, and after hours of work she's of course exhausted. And while at the cafeteria, she just complained about how would it be better to have this process all automated so that she won't waste all their time doing every time that a new hire joins the same action all over again. And so it happens that while she's at the cafeteria complaining, Greg listens to what she was saying, and as an expert on the TWS and the workload automation, he wanted to help her and let her know that with the self-service catalog, he can actually create a job stream and all these processes for her. And the only thing she needs to do after that is just log into the self-service catalog and submitting the requests in an easier way. So it works on that. From the Workload Designer, he creates all the object definitions that Rico needs. And here we see the list on the self-service catalog. We see the list of services that has been published from the Workload Designer. And here we have, for example, the reports, the new hire procedure, etc. And as you can see here, but then we will see in much more detail later, we have also tags, so you can order your services using those tags, and it's a very handy thing to do. And the only thing that Rico needs to do now is to add the information that she needs, for example, the name and the start name and the team of the person that is joining, and then submit it in. In the My Request section of the self-service catalog, we see all the progress of the different services that we have submitted. So we can have at a glance all the information that we need, and if there's some service that is not completed, we know it, and we can promptly take actions. And as I said, it's also mobile friendly, so it works on smartphones too. And as you can see here, we have the same menu, the same list of objects, the same interactions. And after that, after using the self-service catalog, Rico really had it was very helpful for her. And using this tool, she didn't waste a lot of time on repetitive activities, and she just can focus on her everyday work. So now that I've talked so much about the self-service catalog, I mean, you want to see it in action. So I will log in to the DWC. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Oh. I have to stop, okay. What? Okay. So I think now you should see my screen. Yes. Okay. And this is the landing page of the DWC. And to access the self-service catalog, we move here to self-service UIs. And here we have the self-service catalog. And also you have some how-to videos that you can watch if you want more information about the self-service catalog and how it works on both desktop and mobile devices. And clicking on start, I will access it. And this works on single sign-on. And as you can see here, we have a list of job streams and services that we have created for the scenarios of a new hire. For example, I have an email request, and here I can add the name, the surname, and then the domain of the email. And by submitting it, I am actually submitting the job stream, and then whenever the action of requiring the user email will be completed, I will see my request is here with the percentage of completion. But to get here, we first have to move to the new designer and create, for example, let me just remove this, okay, and create a job stream. And here, for example, I don't know, I want to create a request or an asset because I need my new employee to get, I don't know, laptop, smartphone, etc. And from the self-service here, I access this service. And in order to see it in the self-service catalog, I need to check on publish as a service. And here I will add a name and a description.
If the service fails,
yeah,
how does the user know that it's not working? Could you repeat the question?
Oh yeah. So the question was, if the service fails, how do I know that the user doesn't have the requested asset in this case? I mean, we have both the user of the service catalog that can actually see from my request that the request is annulled, so he has 0% completion, or has a status, for example, I don't know, there's something going on with the job stream, so we have an error. And on the other hand, we have the expert, the workload automation expert. So the user of this service catalog can ask the expert what is happening and why the job stream failed, or why the procedure didn't work.
The notifications in the viewing, if they can email or
no, I think they won't get any email or any notification. Yeah. but I can double check on that. But I'm pretty sure that they do not get any notification. But maybe you can add an event rule on Designer to let you know if something went wrong, so you can receive an email. But that's from the expert side, so yeah. And as I was saying, I am requesting asset for the new hire, and I'm adding here a variable, and I will call it assets. And here I will have the list of assets. And I can choose what type of variable I want to use. In this case, I want multiple select because I want to choose between multiple assets, for example, a laptop. And I can assign a value to this variable. For example, I have a code for laptops, that is this one. And I add also a smartphone. And let's say a virtual machine. I'll save it. Oh, something's missing. Oh yeah, workstation. Okay. So I'll save the service and I will go back to my catalog. Oh, one thing that I forgot to add were tags. So to help me search this service in the self-service catalog, I can add tags. I can use existing tags or add new ones. For example, let's say that this is an HR thing and I want to use the new hire tag and also add a new one. Yeah. Okay, so I'll save it. And I should see it here. Okay, so here I have my asset requirements with the description that I've provided in the service in the Workload Designer. And here I can select which asset I want to provide the new hire. For example, here I want a laptop and a smartphone. And this will submit the request, and I will check the status here in the my requests section. And as I said, we have multiple tags, so I can search for different tags. For example, here I'm using the tag email, or I want to see all the topics related to new hire and see what services I have here. And this is pretty much it about the self-service catalog. While I was showing you the self-service catalog, I also showed you a little bit about the new UI and new Workload Designer. So as you could see, we have here the Explorer area with the object. And here, if I select the job streams, here I have the list of the job streams, and I can, for example, edit or view or duplicate the object. And whatever action I perform on the object definition, I get redirected to the workspace area. And here we have all the possible data that I can add to the object definition. So let me switch back to the presentation. Okay.
Is anyone using the new Workload Designer at the moment? Getting used to it? You're not using the old one. Can you see any possibility in any scenario that where it could be useful in your environment?
It's improved. It's getting better. As we were discussing earlier, it's still filled with dread when you're using it. It's not easy to use.
Okay. You need this as a certificate.
No,
no, it's a bit of getting used to it, but once you're used to it, then it's
I think that's the thing. I mean, we are with command line or text editing, web admin, something like that. So it's a I think we will be primarily command line moving forward. but I like the graphical view within frequency that.
Yeah.
Use that for chatting.
People online can hear us.
Yeah, not much we can do. It's just the people on the WebEx can't hear the discussion, so it's a lap for them. So we can't really help that specific one. So we can hear you fine. but
the discussion, yeah.
Microphone.
So yeah.
The microphone. The room must be, because that's where the video's coming.
Yeah, but it's.
So moving on to the self-service catalog approval flow, we might have cases where, for example, Rico needs to request a software that has a license, and for license, the company requires an approval from the financial team, and so we designed this process of approval flow to be integrated in the self-service catalog. And here, for example, we have an integration with Jira. And what we do as a first step is to create a new job definition to monitor an issue on Jira. And here on the self-service catalog, what we're doing is requesting for the software using the service that we have been provided by our expert. And once we do that, we create an issue on a Jira board. So with all the details and the software that we need to provide a new hire. So the next step is, of course, submitting the service on the self-service catalog to create this issue. And here we have the progress. So far is running, but it's not completed because we need the approval. And here from the monitoring workload page, we can see the job stream. So the expert can actually approve the request. So the request is taken into consideration, is checked, and then it's approved. And when it's approved, also the Jira case is updated. And then the service is automatically put on success or error if, for example, if the financial team didn't approve the request. And as you can see from the monitoring, we have both successful, and in the job log, we see the details of the Jira issue, which was the serial number of the software that we have requested for. And here, the self-service catalog as well is updated with successful request. So I don't know if you have any question on the approval flow. Yeah.
So just look the job output then. Was the end user allowed to see the job output? So that there, job log details.
Yeah.
Was the end user allowed to see that?
I think that they might have access to the job log. I guess so.
Because some sensitive information.
Maybe they receive just some of the information of the job log, not all of them. This screenshot here is not from the end user though. It's from the DWC, yeah. But I mean, I don't think that they need to know all the information on the job log. So maybe they just receive few information, not the entire job log.
I just assumed that they look at this dashboard, they say it's completely successful, 100%.
Yeah.
Not the job log.
Yeah, you don't receive the entire job log.
Can any user see all the services that you've created and run?
I mean, you mean the users of the self-service catalog?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they can see the list of the services, but they're bound to the engine that they're using. So you don't see all of them. You just see what you have access to. So the service that have been created for you.
So is there an access control?
Limited by the standard security of the public. So if you are allowed to see those services, you probably are allowed only to subset of the services, or maybe only the one that you have defined or that you need to
So would you limit it by folder?
I think
Depends.
yeah,
You can use different approaches, but you can define the security of the product if the user can access or not the job stream. So the same applies to the service.
Yeah.
So if you access this the view where you have all the list of the services, you will be able to see only the services that you have access to.
So moving to the run cycle preview, as Marco said, it was something that wasn't included in previous releases, and we took some time to redesign it and to improve it and add some enhancements. So we added a higher level of detail, so you have much more information and it's much more usable and also useful. We created a design that was also accessible and that could enhance the user experience. So it is available for job streams and run cycle group with slightly differences, but both of the object integrates this feature, and it's available for both distributed and COS environments. And speaking of information, as you can see here, we have some quick information on the calendar view. It is a yearly preview, and by hovering the mouse over cells that have run cycles defined, you can see some information on the run instances and the excluding instances. And if you want additional details, you can click on that cell and see you will see this model view and see additional information for the run cycle defined in that day.
Why would you show excluded?
Because we might have scenarios where we have running instances, but just few of them are excluded by some instances, and maybe you want to have a quick information on that. How many instances are excluding my running instances? It's just a quick information. If you want to see it in much more detail, you will see here the exact detail, the scat time of the excluded instances. We thought it might be useful instead of just seeing only the included. Yeah. Another thing, we focused on managing instances, and you can do it directly from the preview. So you don't have to switch every time and create the definition and then go back to the preview. You can easily add new run cycles directly from a preview. So if you have already some run cycle instances defined and you want to add more, you can do it directly from here by clicking on Add Run Cycle button. And before we move on to the question and answer, I think I can show you a little bit about the run cycle preview.
We can't see it again.
Yeah, no. Okay. Now you should see. Okay. Let me see if I can find something here. Okay. So here I have my job stream, and by clicking on this button here, I will see the run cycle preview. And as you can see, we have a lot going on here. We have a lot of colors and stuff, and here we have a legend that can help us understand what's happening. So we have inclusive and exclusive instances that can be also multiple. And as you can see here, we have a special symbols to identify if an instance is multiple. We have this little dot here. And also we might have instances that completely exclude one another. So we have this pink color here, or as in this case, we have some instances that exclude just few of the running ones. And here, as I said, you have a quick access to this information. So I have a total of 5 running instances, but just one is excluding those instances, and I have this code here. Another thing that we have done is making this run cycle preview interactive. So for example, here I'm adding a new run cycle, and if I go in the role here and I select simple, as you can see, whenever I select a day, it will promptly be shown in the preview. And here I have some additional information as always for the run cycles, and I can define the earliest start, latest start, what I want to do whenever the run cycle ends, etc. And here I have the role for non-working days and also the type of run cycle. So here I'm making this run cycle exclusive. I'm gonna save it and show you one thing. So okay, I've saved these instances that are exclusive. If I go back to the general preview, we don't see them here, and that's because we thought that we don't need information on exclusive run cycle instances unless they overlap with running instances. So I don't see the detail here, but I see them here because, as I said, we have the pink thing here. But if I add a new run cycle, for example, this time is inclusive, and I want to make it okay like this, and I save it, and then I had another one that is exclusive for the same days, and I make it run every hour. Okay. And then I go back here. You see now we have these 2 instances that are pink because all the running instances are excluded by some other exclusive instances. So these are the only case where we wanted to show you exclusive instances instead of what we have done here with this yellow one, and you see them just in the relevant run cycle. So I think this is it, and we can switch to the Q&A. I don't know if you have any question on the run cycle preview.
Did you say the run cycle preview covers OS applications as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had an issue under 9.5 where we were using a period-based run cycle with an offset. It wasn't showing correctly in graphical view. Is that?
You expect this to be fixed?
Yeah.
It's a new feature.
It's a new feature, and also we have.
So
yeah.
it will take into account
the
offset because we use offsets quite a bit on our main noise environment with period as well. So once we put it down, you see that the offset wasn't being accurately reflected. It was just picking up the origin data.
I'm not sure if we have tried that specific
that scenario. I think we can take a note about this, but we have improved. I mean, we have changed also the flow and reworked the code. So maybe this issue was fixed, but we can try this scenario and see if it's actually so, and in any case, fix it. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
What's next? Oh, yes. Right. Ice cream.
So for the birds of a feather, this will be a discussion, I guess. If we could try and raise our voices when we speak, it may help, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, given the time, we'll start with Nigel's question, which had many parts.
Certainly has.
So, would you like to explain what you were asking?
Right, okay. This has been a long-standing frustration that you can actually delete job streams when it has references throughout your schedule. You can't do workstations, you can't do jobs, you can't do resources, you get a constraint violation. With job streams, you can never delete. One of my guys deleted, frankly, in our test environment. Let's say we had 1,000 job streams and they all come to zero into one in the middle. He deleted one in the middle. So we lost about 500 dependencies across all our job streams that related to this one. It's the backup job stream. So we bring our database down, right into the processing, that's the one he deleted. We have to go back and recreate them all. We do keep history every hour of the object. But why can you delete job streams when you can't delete anything else with a reference?
Yeah,
we now disable the ability in line.
Right.
I think I will ask to the development team an opinion about that. Seems an inconsistent behavior, right? So we manage correctly, safely the first scenario, and we don't the second. I guess we should be changed.
So,
but,
to are other people seeing this as well? Is this causing issues for other people?
But we have now disabled that ability line. But we've taken delete now out of the script of the schedule. But that means we can't put something on draft or anything like that. We can't say draft off.
Yeah, that people as well. Yeah, we removed delete because this was a serious case. We could have it in our production system. So by removing delete from the security, nobody's allowed to delete a job stream anymore. So
okay, it doesn't say just delete the job stream, it needs delete keywords.
Yeah,
you can't delete drafts out of job stream. You have to delete back into security. Go back, take something off draft, and then delete.
I have a case for this. I do have a case. Okay. So they're still working on it. So yeah, it's scary if you didn't know about this. Yeah, and obviously we now know about it. We thought it'd be wise to tell everybody.
We all didn't we? The fact is we just didn't expect.
We didn't expect
for error to whack 500 not dependency, but obviously that people can do that. An accident would be that.
Can everyone online hear that?
So most people online can't hear the conversation. We're too softly spoken. I don't know if people can hear me.
I was been shouting.
So a quick question to Claire. Claire, so Probal asked, could you hear it? And I'm speaking. Can you hear both of us or not? Because the green light is where the microphone is.
Just about hear you and Probal, Angus, but I can't hear anybody else really. I can just hear a murmur.
Okay, so we can hear you beautifully. But individually, we will try and speak up if we can. I mean, to the shout level.
Yes, please.
Stand under there and shout.
Go on, buddy. Here you go. So the ability, can you hear me? No.
Yes, keep talking loudly.
Okay, so the possibility of deleting a key job stream exists within the product. Whereas if you want to delete a job stream and it has references throughout your scheduling, you can do that and it will whack all those dependencies. What we would like to see is that if there are any references to that job stream, that it cannot be deleted.
Or at least to ask you big warning letters, are you sure? Yeah. As opposed to...
So you don't get even a warning of that? Okay.
We found out the next day. Okay. And lots of things ran early.
So if you look at the graphic, the thing that's sort of highlighted, yeah, is basically the normal error message you would receive. If you was removing a job that's in multiple job streams, it would say you can't do this. If it was a resource, it would do the same, yeah. But with a job stream, it just does it. So we thought we'd highlight that.
I think we should change this behavior. Do you?
So we was looking for the same behavior as if it was a job, a CPU, or a resource to say, do you know this is going to delete other dependencies? At least it's a warning, and then you go, oh, I'll stop doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
Sounds like it needs to be an idea.
Yeah, I would do that. Did you try to open an idea on that? I mean, I think it would be a requirement accepted because
we have raised this before years ago, and it was working as designed.
Well, that's if you open a case, they can tell you it's work as designed. But if you open a requirement, it's to change the design. Yeah. So we cannot reject it with that.
So the good news in the slide deck, you've got a link to AHA. So straight to AHA, put this in, and you heard Mark will say he'll have a good look.
And it'll be fixed by tonight.
Like every requirement that we get, we have hundreds. But
this is key. That is
massive. This is important. I understand.
I mean, we should really been a bit more savvy, knowing about this for years. That we should have had a process in place that, didn't allow one of my guys to do what he did. So in live now, thankfully we can.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it's a little different from the first example because
there's two
that might be that you want to delete a job stream with all its dependencies, but you have to be at least warned about what you're doing. I agree.
Okay, before we move on to the next question, I want to open it up to the people on the WebEx. Does anyone have any questions or queries they'd like to ask? I'd like to get you guys to do some work rather than everyone in the room. Dean, you must have a question.
It's horrible. Honestly, nothing's springing to mind right now. Just trying to figure out what our next steps are going to be in terms of how we're moving forwards. Got some meetings lined up with our management to try and figure that out. So, yeah, it's tricky at the minute.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions, or else Nigel has another one? Sorry, Torkild, we can't hear what you're saying.
Okay.
That's
Can you
better.
hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. What I was just trying to ask is, are you really 100% sure you will remove the OCL in 10.2? Because we use a lot of OCL. programming in our shop?
We already changed some of those deprecated functionalities that we announced on 10.1. For example, we stopped from deprecating the batch loader because we realized that it was not fully covered by using Waffle, and so we stopped on that. About OCL, it's not been announced for a while, so I think it's just working in compatibility mode. So for now, that we would still like to remove it, but we can listen to customers.
So we'll work on the 10.1 and 10.2.
We work on 10.1.
Yeah.
We would remove OCL from 10.2 together with the fault tolerant agents on Z.
Yeah,
well, that is something that has never been working so well. So.
But I really want, if you want to remove it, I want the check date function in OCL in Wobble instead.
Okay, so you say that
because we use a check date function to generate a lot of variables for us, and some similar function maybe could be added into the Wobble.
Okay, can you send me an email describing the scenario where you find that there's a feature in OCL that is not covered by anything else? Because
yes.
I will review that with the development team. Obviously,
okay.
we try to remove only things that are covered by other features. So if that is the case, I want to discuss with them. Not sure if you have my email, but Angus will provide it to you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. Any other questions? This one from Des.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Would you like to read it out?
No.
It's the first time I hear this requirement, so I don't know. Maybe it's something doable, but I would suggest to also for this to open an idea, because it seems like a specific requirement. Maybe it's not so common. Not sure.
Okay. Talking again here. Sorry, because I think I already made a request for it into IBM, but I will send you the details.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we'll go back to Nige. Your next question.
As it says, traditionally standard security and centralized address security standard. So with the old way of doing security, we have you can, which is non-centralized, you can basically update the security of that particular server quite quickly using the double-sec make-sec process. With centralized security, something we're possibly going to move towards, there is no dynamic option to actually send it again within the plan cycle, unless you do the remove none and things like that to actually send it out again. So I was just wondering, can there be an opportunity where we can have a dynamic centralized security standard?
Okay, so basically now to get the security updated, you need to run a new plan.
Yes. You can manipulate the plan, but you're removing all the old.
Yeah, you can do everything.
The no remove option, yeah. Which we obviously will never do that. But everything goes carried forward. Yeah, everything goes carried forward. So we just wanted to, can that be implemented, or Is that just part of the new idea process?
Probably, but I can ask anyway to the development team, because I don't know if there's probably I can imagine that there is you need a new plan to update the Symfony file with the security information. Maybe perhaps the old security mechanism was doing something specific for an agent and updating directly the Symfony. I'm not sure, but so to get the centralized security updated, probably you need a new plan. But maybe there's a way to do some dynamic update that is specific for one stamp.
Does anybody use centralized security? Primarily because of that issue.
We moved to centralized security about a year ago, and I don't think we've experienced a day's delay in any updates we've made. Minutes maybe, but not a day.
Do you extend your plan, Dean, to get the new security out there?
No, we simply make the modification in the DWC and then request the user to make the attempt, and they're able to make perform those new security actions accordingly. But it's definitely not a day's worth. It's definitely not dependent upon the plan from our experience.
That must have been new then. We're not aware of that.
I'm not aware of that.
But we can test that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Perhaps.
I mean, no, just get together if we need to and just work it through. Maybe okay. I am doing something that you're not, or vice versa.
I thought it was key, Dean. I thought it was key to the plan life cycle. So that's why the question was raised. If I'd have known it was more dynamic and it's within 1 or 2 minutes, then I would have obviously chosen to go. Because once you got centralized, you're there. It's very difficult to go back to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But no, I've not experienced any major issues. Other than learning the new methods, it seems pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's primarily this issue that was holding us back. But if that issue doesn't exist, maybe it's a documentation update as well. I think.
Is that? Can I ask to the rest of the people online? Mark, have you heard? Have you done this and used this? Mark Delaney? I can interrupt you. You still talking?
How do the agents get that update? That agents as well, Dean, and FTAs?
I think that was Jonathan.
So Jonathan asked. It might be down to the way that we're assigning security privilege, as opposed to maybe what you're expecting.
This is more FTA stroke dynamic agent, where the master obviously may inherit the changes straight away, but is it then distributed out?
The users, from our point of view, have access to prefixes for their batch, and we then further define that restriction to workstation names. That access, as I say, is pretty straightforward and instantaneous. I mean, not instantaneous, but relatively speaking, it's, yeah. How that information gets to the agents and what you're expecting the agents to do differently, because we are talking about user access at this point, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's the users being able to access those agents. That's controlled. I mean, somebody correct me otherwise, but that's controlled through the database, then holding that new information, that information then being available to the user to access various agents. So the agents don't need that information directly because they're not in control of that security. That's coming from the master control end.
we're more coming at it from an FTA point of view, where we have, let's say, local run users on that FTA need access to be able to do stuff. And if that access changed, or there was a requirement for that access to change, that's where obviously with distributed security or local security files, we can change that straight away. But so, do you see changed access on the agents, fault-tolerant agents, or do you not have that requirement?
We don't really have that requirement. No. I mean, to be honest, we've been moving away from FTAs for a while too. We've still got some, but we're trying to move away from them.
So maybe the difference is in that it's immediate, the change for dynamic agents, because they don't have the symphony, so they are connected directly to the master. While
so it may be a problem.
You say that though, but the FTAs that we still have out there, we have had to work with the users at various stages during the working day to change permissions, and that still works immediately.
And is that through DWC?
Yeah.
We can test,
but it's not access at the local end; it's access through the DWC.
But are you also moving away from FTAs, or
not currently? Okay, but maybe we do need to start thinking about that.
Okay. Anyway, on this, you can do your verification, and then if there is still something that you would like to get changed, maybe you can open the idea with the dates.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, in terms of the other questions, we'll come back to a couple of them about job types, because we've got that automation hub session at the end of the day. So we'll come back to that. And the OCLI stuff was more around, has anyone actually tried it? No? Okay. Maybe we have another session on that at the next user group in November. And then lastly was a question from me is anyone going to ASAP in a couple of weeks' time? Or will I be there on my own? I know you'll be there, but he's not going. So is anyone on the call? Just raise your hand if you are going.
I think that's why everybody's here today, because they can't go to ASAP.
Okay. I guess just me and you going out drinking. Okay.
Ben, just to let you know, Probal, Ben has asked the question, but it seems unlikely that he's going to be able to go.
Okay.
But there's a chance, but I think it's unlikely.
I know of a few European customers that are going. Probably it's a subset. Most of the customers will be US customers.
Yeah.
But we have, I think, someone from Germany and also from Sweden. There are probably some IBM Japan people representing customers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, we won't be alone. Just wait.
I shouldn't like to go. Breadcrumbs on.
Yeah. Whereabouts is it this year?
It's Cincinnati, which is where it should have been 3 years ago.
Oh, right. Too cold. It's in Florida.
Yeah, true. Okay. So they were all the questions. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? Either in the room or online? Look like it. So if we go back to the agenda, we now have lunch, and we are pretty much on time as well.
Yeah,
that's not bad, is it? That's a first.
So if you happen to be here in London, there's a lovely lunch just outside. Please help yourself to lunch. Take your time, go out onto the balcony if it's warm enough.
and we'll meet back in an hour. If you're online, I'll leave the WebEx open, and we'll pick up in just a little under an hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He said that was for picking up.
Also. Oh, okay.
give it another go. It's saying it's not there, which is what the F bind is, but it's not giving us any information as to. It's just saying I can't find it.
There will be something in the messages stuff like on the distributed side.
Jonathan's had a look, isn't he? He said it was nothing on there, but I'll ask him again. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the stage level 3 team are in terms of looking at this, but it is beginning. I think Chris might have upped it to a Sev 2 now. See if we can get some more focus on it, but I'll probably drop details.
So we kept chasing my head and like tries to match the window and D. I'm doing D and match it.
Can people hear me online now?
It's long term, I'll say that, but that's reading the manual. I'd
it'd be certainly be helpful. Inform us to the feature if we could check the current plan. We can't find it on there.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Rebel.
See that it's completed. Yeah, we got. Well,
Great.
It has run.
We're just waiting for a couple of people to come back in, and then we'll get started on the next session.
Don't say anything rude. People can hear you. Because you can get it to complete everything.
Yeah,
which
is that was the point, yeah. But we don't want that. Otherwise, there's no point having it.
Definitely, it cannot bind to an operation. Then it has to be the match in the plan of the device.
So, yes, thank you for that. I'll send you some details. Get some more trace on that. Yeah, that's the small. I think Chris has upped it to a Sev 2.
Angus is just grabbing a coffee, but we'll get started. There's no one waiting, is there? No, doesn't look like it. Okay. We'll carry on. Right, can everyone